One of the most commonly asked questions when people start is, what equipment do I need? So I thought I'd break it down. I'd get my gym bag out and we'll go through bit by bit what I've got. Not everything, because you collect a bunch of stuff over time, but we'll go through the basics of what I think that you should get and a few extra pieces. So let's go for it. You often see guys using knee pads. These are going to help to keep your knees nice and warm and provide a little bit of support whenever we're doing workouts or squatting work. And also they provide a good amount of protection for when we're doing burpees and lunges and things like that, because quite often our knees are getting into contact with the ground, and it does provide a good amount of support. So whenever we're doing burpees and stuff, they're great to chuck on. You'll see that most people, after doing CrossFit a little bit, will grab some knee sleeves. So these are Rehband 7mm knee sleeves, but you can get like RockTape knee sleeves as well in 7 and 5mm. There's a bunch of different sorts, but try a few out. What else we got? Heart rate monitor. This isn't 100% necessary, but it's a good training tool for giving you some feedback into what sort of zones you've pushed into your WODs. So we also have RFX CrossFit big screens where we have everyone's heart rate up on the screen, so you can kind of see, you know, what sort of level you're working at. And especially when you're doing aerobic style work where we're trying to work heart rate percentages for time, it really helps you to get that perfect, so there's no guessing. They actually sell these at reception at RFX CrossFit. So they're one of the little great tools that we've got. Shin skins. Don't necessarily need these. If you are a shin knocker, mine's not too bad at the moment. I used to wear these for everything, but now I literally only wear them for rope climbs. So when we're doing rope climbs, often the rope wraps around the shin, and when you're coming down, the rope will be sliding across the front of the shin. So some people just pull their knee sleeves down or have some longer socks. But it's good to have something for protection for rope climbs, just so that we don't get any rope burn. What else? Weight belt. This one gets asked all the time. Do I need a weight belt? You don't need one. They're a pretty handy tool to have. When we're lifting heavy loads, sort of above 80%, it's good to have, just to provide a little bit of extra support. Also, if you're a little bit fatigued in the back, or you're sort of getting over a little bit of an injury or something, they're good to have for a little bit of support. Or workouts where there's high volume and you just want that little bit of extra assistance to help protect your back. It's not good to rely on them. Like, you need to spend a fair amount of time without using a belt, so that you don't always rely on it and you do build that core support. Good thing with CrossFit is to have a belt that is Velcro, so that if you are using it in a workout, you can get it on and off quite easily. You can get all sorts of leather belts, but they become a little bit more difficult to use. I love Spudinc belts. These are expensive, but this is a 2-ply Spudinc deadlift belt. This is the second one I've had. I've had so many different belts, and I think these are amazing. So that's that. What else? I've got like 2 other belts in here and a bunch of other bits and pieces, like some gloves and lifting straps and stuff, but you guys don't need to worry about that. What do we got here? Shoes. Olympic lifting shoes. So generally CrossFitters will have 2 pieces of shoes in their arsenals. Actually, CrossFitters will have probably 30 or 40 different pairs of shoes, because for some reason we love collecting shoes. For your general WODs, like a CrossFit Nano, these have just been released, the Nano 8s. These are, I find these really, really comfortable. These are one of the main CrossFit shoes, and the other one is the Nike metcons. I think they're up to the 4s now. So most people choose between those 2, and they're available at Rebel Sport. But there are other brands as well that you could try out. And they're just a little bit more hard wearing. So if you're doing rope climbs or you're doing weightlifting, they're not, your running shoes they don't have enough support side to side. They're a little bit soft, so when we're trying to create stability in the ground with our lifts, like they sort of compress a little bit. Although running shoes are handy to have if we're doing a lot of running, but they're not 100% necessary. Then you'll see Olympic weightlifting shoes. Basically, these are a little bit more of a rigid shoe and their heel's a lot higher. And what this does is it allows us to be able to receive a squat with more of an upright torso. So if we're putting our hands over our head and we're trying to lower down into a squat position, if our heels come up a little bit, it helps us to bring our torso a little bit more upright, so it's easier to receive that lift. And especially if you have like ankle restrictions, if you're stiff in the ankle, I don't have that problem at all. I can literally bring my knee right forward over my ankle. So during WODs, I don't wear these, but some people will wear these in a workout just because they're a little bit more restricted in the ankle and it's easier for them to do their squatting movements. These ones are the Romaleos, but Reebok do, some Innovates do a bunch of shoes. Not 100% necessary to start, but once you've started using these, especially with Olympic lifting, you don't go back. A few other wrist wraps. So these are the twist-on sort. So basically we roll them around the wrist, like so. And they just loop underneath like this. Right, so to tighten them, you just literally twist them and they twist upon themselves and they get tighter, and then to loosen them, you untwist them, right? These are about 20 bucks for a set. And you know, we do a lot of movements in CrossFit where we're relying on our wrists, and wrists, they take a long time to get stronger, and you don't, like anything, you don't have to have wrist wraps, but it just provides a little bit of extra support while you're building stability and strength in your wrists, and again, just a little bit more comfort in the workouts. And for 20 bucks, like, you know, for me too, like I sweat a lot, so they catch my sweat that's running down my arm. So, you know, these are a good thing to have. Skipping rope. I've got two, but it just depends on my mood as to which one I use. But it's good to have your own skipping rope. One is, it's going to be the perfect length for you, and there's going to be no chance that you're going to miss out on the rope that you need in class. So great investment, especially when you start getting better at some of the movements like double unders. It helps to have your own rope because you become used to that rope and you know you're going to be quite efficient. So they can be expensive, but you know, it's going to last you a long time. You might get through the cables, but they're only like 5 or 10 bucks to replace the cable. So mine, I prefer the RX jump rope. I've tried the RPM 3.0 rope, which is this one, which most people love. This is probably one of the more favorable ropes for most people because they're super fast, but for me, I just don't really find this one as good as my jump rope. Handguards. When you start out, not such a big issue, but as you get better at CrossFit, the volume's going to become higher. You're going to find that you're going to be able to do a lot more reps hanging on a bar. So you'll start to get to a point where you might find that you can see I've got tears that have repaired here, but I'm 103 kilos, so you put a few reps on the bar and the skin can only take so much. So having a pair of decent hand protectors. These ones are the Roo Grip ones, but I've had a few different sorts. I really like the Ginasta ones as well. And there's a bunch of others. You've got to try a few. These are about 80 bucks, so these ones are expensive, but if you've got to try a few to see which ones you like. But as that volume starts creeping up with your kipping work and your hanging, a good little item to have. Tape, pink tape. This goes with the rest of my gear. So the hook grip in Olympic lifting is a necessity for you to maximize your lifts, and quite often as the weight starts to get heavier again, it's a lot of pressure on your skin. So quite often you'll see most guys, they'll wrap their thumbs with some sort of tape. For me as well, when I'm doing gymnastics hanging on the bar, I'll actually end up wearing out the skin here just because I go a little bit wide on the bar and it puts a lot of pressure on the inside of my thumb. Some people go thumbs over, I go thumbs under for a better grip. And just having the tape on the thumbs helps a lot to protect my skin. So I pretty much don't do a workout without some tape on my thumbs. And again, you could go with rigid tape. This is Physio tape. So this one's actually $5 a roll from Kmart. Like, I find it the best. Everyone's got their favorites, but Kmart sells that for $5. It's better than paying $20 for a roll from somewhere else. So that's the go. I think we're just about there, guys. Oh, here are scissors. Helps to cut your tape. So, you know, a couple of other bits and pieces I have are like gloves if I'm doing rope climbs. Again, not necessary if you're not doing too many. Lifting straps to help lift heavier loads when you've been doing a lot of work. But I think these are the basics. Like the first thing that I would recommend for guys starting out: belt, knee sleeves, wrist straps, pair of nanos. These are more than likely going to be your key items. These are nice to have, but you can collect them over time as your volume increases within gymnastics, as you get a little bit more proficient with your lifting. As you start lifting a little bit more load, you'll find that the tape will help with protecting the skin. The heart rate monitor is really nice as well, but again, not necessary. If you pick up these things and then collect the stuff as we go, you're going to start off pretty well. That's all I got. What I'm going to do for you guys also is I'm going to list out some of the main things I have. I'm going to put some like email addresses of where you can pick the stuff up from and a few different versions, and we will put those comments with this video. Aside from that, I hope that helped out, and get to it. Cheers, guys.